I recently saw a video that asked people about why they dislike turn-based combat, which got me thinking. I like action combat, and I've always preferred it over turn-based combat. That doesn't mean that either is objectively better or worse, just that to me personally it's more enjoyable. And I like enjoying things, so to me it's better. I'm MacLeod, and let me tell you about my perspective in regards to the debate of action versus turn-based combat. I will just get right into it with the comment I wrote on that video. For context, a lot of people in the comments said it's probably because of brain rot, smaller attention spans, and a lack of patience. For me, it's not about tactic or too much thinking. That's actually a part that I enjoy about turn-based combat. But there's action games that have that too. And I like to play games because I want to feel like I'm in the game, or like I am, or like I'm actually controlling the character. And turn-based combat feels more like I'm telling the character what to do, not like I'm actually doing it. That really takes away from the immersion and intensity of combat for me. That being said, I can enjoy games despite the turn-based combat if the story is good enough. Now, as a little detour, I found that the comments on that post were actually kind of funny in a way. There was so many people that don't actually dislike turn-based combat themselves, making assumptions on why people dislike it. And while I think it's not a good thing that people do that, it's such a human thing though, isn't it? And I realized I do that too with FF7R, with the Final Fantasy VII Remake project. I really don't understand why people dislike it as much as some people do, and it bothers me, because it's something that I like so much, so I try to figure out why they do, even though I don't actually dislike it myself. So how would I actually know, you know? It'd be a lot easier if more people actually explained their perspective properly instead of just throwing around negativity. But that's how that is. It's a social media thing, and I guess some people just act emotional. But how emotional people are with games is really a testament to how great games are as an art form. And it's probably related to the one thing that games have that no other form of art has: player agency. And of course, when you are the one progressing or even controlling the story, then you'll be more invested than as a mere spectator. Or at least I think that's probably the tendency. When you look at people who watch sports, you may find an exception to that rule. As the saying goes, coaches or people that are unhealthily obsessed with it don't play, unless they're a gambler. I always found that to be a weird saying though. Anyways, maybe I will dive into player agency and video games as an art more in depth in another video. But let's get back to why Zack is Cloud's true love. Oh, wait, wrong script. Back to why I like action combat more than turn-based battles. I think inherently I'll always feel a little bit less immersed in turn-based combat, even with super cool variations of it. There's a game coming soon, I think it's called Expedition 33. From what I've seen, it has a turn-based combat, and it even has a parry mechanic, so you have an action aspect that keeps you engaged. And it honestly looks really cool, and while I'll possibly enjoy that more than a more traditional command-based game, the less my inputs feel like they're actually controlling the character rather than commanding, the less I feel immersed into it. One of my friends told me about Yakuza, for example. They swapped to a turn-based battle system with Like a Dragon, and being a franchise that is known as a beat-em-up kind of game, they went with the route of a very action aspect heavy turn-based system. I only have surface level understanding of it, so feel free to correct me. You select the action and target, and then you get different button prompts like QuickTime events that will let you do more damage. And you can block to reduce damage when attacked. And the whole battle is more dynamic because all the characters actually slowly move about the arena instead of standing still in a row facing each other. This combat system has so many action-ish aspects and still somehow feels more like it falls under the category of feeling like commanding the character instead of actually controlling them. And I'm by no means saying that it's bad in any way. I think it's a pretty cool and creative way to fuse the craziness of Yakuza combat with a turn-based system, but I would still not be as immersed in it as I would be if it was a classic action game. And it's so funny, I don't even know what exactly it is about it that makes me feel that way, because where's the line? Especially when FF7R has a command system, and that's my favorite battle system out there. And in it, you literally make commands, and with some attacks like limits, you legit spectate the character while they execute their action, like you would in a turn-based game. But there, it somehow actually feels like I'm in there in the battle, fighting bad guys. Maybe it's the rarity of attacks like limit breaks or synergies, which have these mini cutscenes. Or maybe it's just the freedom of being able to run around freely and approach the enemies how I want. Maybe it's the fact that the press of the attack button instantly translates instead of just initiating a longer attack animation. Or maybe it's the feeling of the enemies actually being active at all times and not idling, waiting to get hit by my next attack. But somehow Final Fantasy VII Remake manages to capture the immersion and intensity of action combat, but also getting a lot of the tactical depth from the command-based aspects. And somehow, for me, that is the exact right amount of it. Something I used to think a lot when thinking about any kind of media like music or art is, if there's one person out there who enjoys it, then why hate it? Because if there's someone who enjoys it and it doesn't harm anyone, then it's worth being there. And maybe Remake's combat system is like that for me. It was made for me, just me, clearly. So logically, it's mine now, and I will not share. Go away, shoo. But then, on the other hand, who could I yap to if no one else can play it? Alright, you can have it too, but only if you like this video, and share your perspective on turn-based combat in the comments. And if you want, send this video to someone whose perspective on it interests you. I'm MacLeod, and I will see you next time. Goodbye for now.